Brian Cantor here on behalf of CCW Digital, taking in the amazing, iconic environment that is the 19th CCW. And one of our premier technology providers here, a great partner and a true innovator of the space, is ServiceNow. They have a pavilion lined up, they have a booth here, really sharing their wisdom with the customer contact community. And one of their representatives on behalf here, one person talking about their business, one person sharing that wisdom, is Abhijit Mitra of the organization. First of all, Abhijit, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing phenomenally, and it's absolutely thrilling to have you here. Now, we were talking earlier, and the very first thing you said was, a lot of people say the same stuff. A lot of technology providers, a lot of vendors in the space make the same claims, but you do it differently. Well, I'm going to hold you accountable for that and tell us how ServiceNow does it differently.
All right, so let me tell you a little bit of what I do. I'm the general manager for Customer Service Management Business Unit at ServiceNow. And I'll, if you pay close attention to the name, it's not customer service management, it's customer service management. So that fundamentally defines what we are here about. So what we bring to the table is fundamentally a different approach to customer service. Because when you talk to most vendors in this space, for a very long time, the focus has been on the customer engagement layer. How do customers engage with customer service organization through various channels, whether it's phone or email or chat, and then logging their issues as cases. And while we think that's very important, we also think that it's far more difficult and equally important to streamline the underlying service operations which deliver a superior customer service to customers. And that's where we are bringing a service management approach to customer service, and hence we are the customer service management people.
Definitely, and I think one of the most cliched topics at this point, but it's obviously still important, is the idea of reducing customer effort, making it easy for them to do business, making it easy for them to get what they want.
Right.
And if all you're doing is just responding to cases, then you're just going to be responding to those same pain points, those same sources of effort. It sounds like you really believe in the importance of finding which processes, which systems, which fractures are causing the effort, and making sure that you reduce them and eliminate them on an organization-wide basis.
Absolutely. So the three fundamental principles of customer service management are called effortless, connected, and proactive. And effortless, as the name says it, is all about making the customer's experience easy and effortless, right? Now, how do you do that, though? It's very easy to say, have an effortless customer experience. How do you do that? So at ServiceNow, what we do is we focus a lot on automation, and we focus a lot on self-service. So applying concepts like a service catalog, which is about automating repetitive requests from customers, like a password reset, right? You automate that, you put it up as a self-service option on your website. Now your customers don't need to call anyone. They just come to your website, click a button, and the workflow gets kicked off. And with or without any human intervention, instantaneously delivers the service to your customers. So that's an example of effortless customer experience. That's what service management allows you to do. Now, you mentioned getting to the root cause of customer issues and driving them to a prominent resolution. And that's what Connected is all about. Connected is all about bringing people across different departments on a common platform, breaking down the silos and assigning work to them and tracking that work to a permanent resolution to drive down the root cause of customer issues. And this is really how customer service becomes a team sport. It's not just the customer service people, the agents in the frontline department. It's everybody in the company. And the third thing I mentioned is about being proactive. And proactive is about analyzing data, which may be from connected machines in real time, and then reacting to that and taking actions so that customers' business is not disrupted.
So what it all seems like it comes down to is if you have effort, if you have fractures on the back end, it seems very likely that's going to hurt customers on the front end. That's when they're going to have to repeat the same problem over and over again. That's when they're going to feel as if they're not getting what they want. So when you look at it from the standpoint of, are we making it easy for our systems, our tools, our agents to solve the problem for customers? That's an important step in then making the front-end engagement experience easy for customers.
That's right. In fact, there's a picture that comes to my mind as you were speaking, Brian, and that's of an iceberg. Now, you see the tip of an iceberg. That's a little bit, right? But really the core of it, the mass of it is what lies below the surface of the ocean. And if you can attack that problem and streamline your underlying service operations in order to deliver the superior customer experience that your customers deserve, that's when you've truly solved the problem of delivering an end-to-end service to your customers.
And the best part is, what's amazing about all this, when you do that, you actually increase efficiency, because these problems exist not because you're trying too hard to be efficient, but because you have inefficiencies on the back end, you have operational challenges. When you fix those, not only do you get the happier customers, not only do you get that effortless, connected, and proactive experience, you also get a more streamlined operation, you save money, you're more profitable, everybody wins.
And that's so intuitive, isn't it? I mean, to provide a superior customer experience, if you can streamline your operations, you save money, you improve the quality of your product, right? Because you're driving down route cars. Customers have a better experience, and hence you have more revenue. You save money, you make more revenue, customers have a better experience, and your product and service gets improved. Well, what else? I mean, what else could be better than this?
Now, obviously, you're an end-to-end solution. You're really focusing on that entire service management process. But it's not just about the solution, right? Obviously, you have to have the right mindset, the right buy-in from your clients. So what do you coach them on? What do they need to be able to change organizationally to make the most of what ServiceNow does?
So many of our customers are actually going through a massive transformation in their customer service. And this transformation is a result of many different factors. The one most often thing that we see is a digital transformation initiative in any company. As we all know, products are becoming more and more services, and services are becoming more digitally powered, meaning powered by technology. And this fundamental shift requires a totally different way of thinking about how customer service is delivered. So you're right. Change management is a fundamental initiative that most of our customers have to go through as they're doing this transformation. It involves consolidating of different systems. It involves a common service process. It involves training and upskilling people, especially with things like machine learning. When you have machine learning in play now, machine can learn and do things a lot more efficiently on those, let's say, on those simple tasks that you don't need humans for anymore. But then you need humans for those complex tasks that the machines cannot resolve. So a virtual agent can probably resolve 40% of most typical customer requests. But when the virtual agent cannot resolve it, you need to hand over that interaction to a live agent. So there's a reskilling, retraining of humans to perform the more complex interactions. That's also very important.
Now, obviously that's a big undertaking. Change management is tough. So do you provide any sort of consultative role? Do you partner with these organizations to help create that dynamic where the ServiceNow solution can have its biggest impact?
Absolutely. We work with a lot of our partners. These are the big GSIs as well as regional vendors. All of them have business process expertise. Even within ServiceNow, we have our own business process programs. There's something called Inspire. We also recently launched a customer's success initiative where we handhold customers through this transformation. Because these are not simple transformations. We offer them best practices and advice on how to navigate this complex change management process.
Why is it so important to have this unified kind of end-to-end solution? Because I'd imagine there are providers out there who have great technology that can do different phases pretty well. So what real advantage do they get from this kind of end-to-end approach that you're offering?
The real advantage is insights. So think about it. Most often, the issues that need to be resolved as a result of a customer calling you or coming to you with a problem is not something that the customer service department can do. It's most often somebody in some other department within your organization. Now, there are two ways to solve this. You can ask your customer to go talk to that other guy, which is something that we don't want.
It's not going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, it happens a lot today. But you don't want your internal workings of how you work within your company to be exposed to your customer, right? Customers want a seamless experience end to end. So what do? Well, you take the issues from your customers, you swivel chair into a different system. If there is one, sometimes there isn't any. If there is one, You swivel chair into the system, you log an issue or a task, or you send an email to somebody in engineering or operations or legal or finance or marketing or somebody to help you resolve that customer issue. When you have it on a common platform, what happens is that these cases can seamlessly follow into tasks or incidents, or it can be workflows, which are actually instrumenting that work across multiple departments or multiple systems. And then you have visibility. As a customer service manager, as a person who owns the experience, you have visibility into what is happening to the root cause of the problem that the customer is calling about. And with visibility, you have SLAs, you have analytics, you have dashboards. Now you can be proactive and you can anticipate issues earlier on and fix them so other customers are not affected. This is really the fundamental difference between having multiple different systems versus having it all on one common platform, the ServiceNow platform.
So over the course of the next few days, I mean, we've already had Barbara from Shark Tank. We had great entertainment at the awards gala. We have best-selling authors. We have Shep Hyken. We have people from Comcast, another very famous organization speaking. Why are people going to remember ServiceNow when they go back to their organizations?
The tagline that I love about ServiceNow's customer service management is that we view customer service as a team sport. It's not just the people manning your contact centers and call centers who are responsible for customer service. It's everybody in the company who's responsible for customer service. We allow you, companies, to make your customer service a team sport.
And that's huge because so often we've had the frustration, right? They don't get it, they don't understand, or even if they do, we're not connected enough to take action. And when you say, we're done with those excuses, you don't have them anymore, because ServiceNow is going to connect everybody, the burden is on everyone in this room to say, okay, take the initiative, connect the customer experience, connect the entire service design, and really develop something special for your customers.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your insights today. Obviously, your organization, you've partnered with us a lot. We've gotten to see some of the great things you've done. But really hearing how you identify your vision and why you're different is so valuable because, again, technology is so advanced. There's so much amazing things happening on the technology front. But what's happening on the partnership front? What's happening on the implementation front? What's happening on the vision front? And you have that figured out. And I think when you have that figured out, it allows your solution to become an instrument to results, not something to have fun with and just put in your call center.
Absolutely.
Well, great. So this has been Brian Cantor coming at you live from CCW in Vegas. We're midway through Customer Contact Week, the 19th edition. So much great stuff still planned. So many great people to talk to, and we just heard from one of them. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Brian.
CCW Digital audience, we just got extremely lucky. We also have one of our award finalists, a truly excellent contact center leader, with us right now for a conversation, and that's going to be Brian Johnson from Hotwire. How's everything going, Brian?
It's been awesome. I've really been having a great time, and thanks so much, Brian, for having me.
Well, it's been a little while. It's been almost 24 hours since the awards, but we haven't caught up since then. So I am curious, what did you think of last night's CCW Excellence Awards?
They were a lot of fun. It was a great opportunity to not just be a participant, but to also kind of be entertained. So had a great time. Obviously, we had the ventriloquist there. It was super fun. And the meal was great. And then the award ceremony at the end.
Yeah, and to be honest, it's what your community deserves. You deserve from our perspective. And that's why over the past few years, we've really gone all in terms of a real show, a real celebration. There's tons of best contact center lists. There's tons of here are 25 customer-centric companies. But to honor you the way you deserve to be honored, because let's face it, I don't care whether you're the most customer-centric person or whether you're a numbers person, you know the customer experience is a valuable part of the business, and it's time that achievement, innovation, commitment gets honored properly. So
Absolutely.
We're thrilled to have you.
Yeah, and as one of the finalists, I've totally felt honored.
You deserve to be. Now, we do want to find out why you were nominated. It wasn't just because your company name is awesome. It's not because you're a recognizable brand. It really is because you are committed to elevating your workforce through learning and development. Now, before we get there, however, I want to make one thing clear. Just like great technology is useless in the wrong hands, great training is useless if you don't have the right people to train. So I would believe that a great learning and development strategy really starts with mapping out who's a good fit for your organization.
Absolutely. For us, the selection process is critical. Getting the right people is really a huge importance in making sure that they're able to serve our customers well. So we've got a few things that we do. We have some pre-employment assessments where we talk about personality. Of course, we've got some of the standards like typing skills, and our centers are offshore, so we've got some language assessments to make sure that they're can communicate effectively with our customers. But we also want to make sure that they've got the right personality for the role, so that they can not only handle the customer, but do so in a way that keeps our customer satisfied and wanting to book with us again.
And I think that's truly important, because while you can train soft skills, I don't believe that you can't train empathy, that you can't train them to connect with customers. I do believe it's extremely hard to train a belief in what you're trying to do, a belief in who you are as an organization. That, I feel like you're absolutely right, has to start with the recruiting.
That's right. And, that's just part of innately who a person is. And so through training, we can develop it, but they've got to bring that piece of the puzzle to their job. And so we want to make sure that we've got the right person, and we've got some assessments to make sure that they are.
Now, training's a journey. I know that some organizations historically have done, you have your 8 weeks, you have your 6 weeks, and then you're on the phones, and hopefully it goes well. I don't believe that you would be a finalist if that was your mentality here. I believe that you understand that development takes time, it takes commitment. So what does your training journey look like for your employees?
Yeah, so when they start, they all go through a 4-week program. We call it Hot Start. Hot Start is just branded as our new hires learning program. Obviously, it consists of systems training and brand awareness and the different types of offerings that we have to sell. But more so, it's very much hands-on, developmental, so that the people know how to do their job effectively at the end of those 4 weeks. Some of the other things that we're doing in this year is we've had a real focus on our path to proficiency. Basically, how long does it take for a new hire to become a seasoned agent? For us, that was really around 90 days last year. This year, we had a goal of reducing it to 45 days. And I'm happy to say that so far, that has been the case. They're meeting 50% faster than what they were in previous years after we kind of redesigned our Hot Start program.
Makes perfect sense. Now, obviously, part of this is the personalization element. It's like a lot of times we're hearing that kind of trend, that philosophy of the way you feel about personalizing for your customers, the way you feel about growing with them, you need to do that for your agents as well. And I'd imagine training is a big part of that because, again, you have it sounds like what you do very well, very quickly, is really build out that core product knowledge, get them understanding who you are as a business. Mm-hmm. But after that, you want to understand how do you tap into their potential, accentuate their strengths and hide their weaknesses. So you want to do that, that's great. But you also are running a business, you have costs, you want to stay productive, you can't just take your agents off the phone to have training all the time. So how do you kind of balance that where you're personalizing at scale?
So one of the things that we've done, especially this past year, is invest heavily in coaching. So for us, we know that in order for our agents to really grow and develop, we've got to coach them. And in order for coaching to be good, it's got to be personalized. So we're not coaching all agents on the same development areas. We're coaching them specifically on what they need to have coaching on. And I think we do that through a variety of different ways. All the coaching's delivered from their supervisor. So their supervisor knows where they're strong and where they might have some growth opportunities. And then we also do that through feedback through our QA process. So if they're excelling in a particular part or not, then that's where then we focus in. So we celebrate the positive areas, we coach on growth opportunities.
Now, what triggers the need for coaching? What do you look at to determine this person is weak in this one area, or this person has so much potential here that we need to hone that?
So it's a good question. Actually, everybody gets coaching. So no matter who you are, we expect our supervisors to spend at least 30 minutes a week on your coaching. So talking about how you can improve and how you can, and not just improve, but on what you're also doing well. So celebrating success and then giving feedback on growth. So it doesn't matter. It's not like a negative thing. It's just part of the culture.
Makes perfect sense. Now, do you have any sort of return on learning that you look at, or is it just, hey, if our customer satisfaction is good, we must be doing something right?
So we have seen a significant improvement in both CSAT, and the metric that we manage is DSAT, and I can explain why in just a minute. And then the kind of the godfather of training evaluation is Kirkman, and we evaluate all 4 levels of evaluation. So we're looking at not just are they retaining information, but can they actually demonstrate it back on the job? Sorry, I said Kirkman, but it's Kirkpatrick.
Those listening surely know who you were talking about.
Totally.
But more importantly, you talked about, I think, does it manifest in the job? Are they demonstrating it? And so does that, to what extent, the people that you want to demonstrate it on are the customers. You want them to be happy. You want them to feel as if these agents that they're talking to today are better than the ones that they would have talked to yesterday. So how do you incorporate voice of the customer? How do you incorporate customer needs into your training, whether it's on the group training or the coaching that you do?
So let me just briefly explain kind of the different philosophy between DSAT and CSAT. So in our particular offering or our business model, we've kind of restrictive policies. So sometimes it makes it difficult for our customers in that most of the bookings they make with us are a final booking. So for all intents and purposes, the agent's hands are sometimes tied. So we felt that because of our policies, they're already at a disadvantage for leveraging CSAT. So we might not be able to get CSAT on all of our calls. But what we do know is our agents can excel at not making it a DSAT, not having someone be dissatisfied. We might get them to indifferent. We might not ever make them completely happy because of our policy. But we want that agent experience not to be taken away from the overall customer experience.
Yeah, I think, and that's pretty much a great philosophy when it comes to customer experience. It's the idea that a lot of times loyalty is built not when customers get what they want, but when they don't get what they want and how you make them feel about that. And it sounds like, yes, you can't always say yes, but you could say no in a way that doesn't make things worse.
That's right. And so the way that we've kind of integrated that is we go through all the DSATs. Our QA team will work with the agents to listen to those calls, to then work with the supervisor, then to go back to the coaching. And that's how we really integrate in voice to customer. So, sometimes I know as a consumer myself, sometimes I feel like I put it down a survey and it's never going to get read or never going to get heard. At Hotwire, we're reading them. And we're coaching the agents on how to perform better on that next call.
So you're directly closing that loop. It's not a scenario where you're saying, hey, your average handle time is 10 seconds too slow, so they don't know why it's happening. They just know that they didn't hit a metric. Your agents are getting that direct, precise visibility into when a call went wrong, when it went right, and they can understand, they can take ownership of that, and they can improve.
Exactly.
Now, speaking of the agent's perspective, it's not just voice of the customer that you want to look at. You also want to be looking at voice of the employee, voice of the agent. How does that drive training?
So we definitely have ongoing engagement feedback from the agents. But from a training perspective, at the end of the learning, they're giving us feedback on how the trainer did. But we're also getting feedback at the 45-day mark from their supervisor on how they're performing in the job based on what we've actually were supposed to train them on. And then they also do a self-assessment, and then those become part of their action and growth plan for ongoing development. So we get a lot of feedback from the agents themselves.
Now, to what extent does your training look outside the specific function? I've heard a lot of conversation this week about the idea that jobs start in the contact center because the people who are working there, they learn the business, they learn the customers, they know what the experience looks like, and then you can go anywhere with more intelligence. So given that there is an idea of cross-promotion and the idea of having agents want to stay for the long haul, to what extent do you think about that in the training phase, or is it more, we want them to master this right now and we'll help them build over time?
Yeah, so we want them to be the best that they can at their job, but we also want them to grow. So a lot of the internal growth comes in the form of promotion. So we also work with them to grow some of their soft skills and some of their leadership skills. And then, of course, just to become better agents. So we do that in the form of ongoing support, ongoing programs. We'll look at, we put together an annual calendar. We'll use information that we're getting back from our DSAT. If we start to see areas where we're not performing well, we'll do refreshers on that. And a lot of our training is not meant to be really labor intensive for the learner. It's meant to be fun, meant to be engaging, and short.
Yeah, I think when training feels like a task, it doesn't register.
That's right.
And it doesn't for either side of the coin. I think the trainer doesn't feel engaged by what they're doing. The person who's learning does not benefit from it. You need to understand the value has to be so obvious and the delivery mechanism has to be so engaging. I really feel that's true.
Right. So small hits, but more regularly is better than a 3-hour session once a month.
Now, awards finalists this year, you want to keep getting better. Next year, how are you going to win? What changes do you want to make? What do you see as that pathway to improvement?
Well, it's definitely going to mean that I'm going to have to spend a little bit more money paying off the judges. Of course, I'm just kidding. I think for us...
Paying off CCW digital analysts, though, that may help you.
That's right. I think for us next year, we need to get better at what we're already doing well, be more efficient. And I think we need to continue to focus in on really helping the agents excel at what they're already doing well.
Yeah, and I would say that you're hitting on some great points there, because when I think of the organizations that won, there was one organization, UPMC, that pretty much ran the table last night.
That's right.
And it's not, they do cool things, but they're not doing the most mind-blowing, crazy innovation. They're not changing what a contact center is. They're simply making sure their contact center does what it's supposed to do consistently every time. And I think your spirit of what you're doing, how you're training, is certainly putting you on that pathway.
Right. It's almost like that old saying, get back to basics. It's just like, just do whatever you can, but do it day in and day out really well.
And even if it is something innovative, do it for a fundamental reason.
Exactly.
Do it because it ties to a meaningful objective, not a fad.
Right.
Well, Brian, I want to thank you so much, first of all, for expanding the greatest name on the planet to the CCW digital audience.
That's right.
Sharing your insights, because this event, this is my 8th year on site at CCW, and the emphasis on people has always been so pivotal to it. It's always so central, but really seeing what it takes to get there. We can all say we care about people, we can all say we want to connect with them, but learning and development, targeting the right people and targeting their strengths and weaknesses when you develop them, that's how you get the people you can be proud of. And more importantly, that's how you get people who are proud to be part of your organization.
That's right. Well, thank you for having me, Brian. I really appreciate that.
Definitely. And on behalf of CCW Digital, on behalf of the Buffett Soundtrack, this has been Brian Cantor. We're thrilled to have everyone on site. If you're not on site, you're royally missing out, but at least you got the great insights of this great interview. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you.